Okay, I think it's been about a little over a year, but I'm about ready to do the very last recipe in this cookbook from the Disney Princess Cookbook. It's a dessert and it's called Bibbidi-Bobbidi-Boo Magic Wands, and I'll show you the picture of it right here. And this is a fairly simple, I think I saved something relatively easy for last. This is basically you take flour tortillas, you cut them to look like magic wands, and then you just basically put butter and colored sugar on them or sprinkles on them. All right, here's some videos of putting it together. The first step is you take a flour tortilla and you take kitchen scissors and you cut them into wand shapes, roughly about an inch wide or so, it says. And when I'm cutting them with the scissors, I'm trying to kind of make them look what I think is a wand, which is, a little bit more of a pointed top and a thicker bottom. As you can see, as I'm cutting, I'm trying to do a little bit of an angle with this one. But of course it came out a little too thick on the bottom, so I'm just kind of playing around with it to get it into the size that I like. Once done, I put them on the parchment paper that you see there on the side on the pan. Here I just took another flour tortilla in the center, just kind of cut a little bit thinner instead of the angle in more of a straight line. And then I'm just going to kind of tip the tops there with it to give it more of that wand shape. And that seemed like that worked pretty easily that way. I also decided to try cutting these shapes with a pizza cutter because I thought there could be some simplicity to that as opposed to using the scissors. And that is what I'm doing here. And I actually kind of liked the pizza cutter a little bit better. Now that they're cut, I'm taking melted butter and a pastry brush, and I am brushing them with the butter. The colored sugar to the tortillas, and then I'll toast them in the oven. And this is where I realized I kind of goofed up. I was supposed to toast the tortillas and then add the butter and sugar after. I've made other recipes where I've done it more this way, so I think I just got into a bad habit. But either way, I use this colored sugar. You can use any color you want. I picked two of my favorite colors, blue and purple. Here they are, done and out of the oven. Summary review for the Bibbidi-Bobbidi-Boo Magic Wands. They were fine. I was only so-so on them, honestly. I mean, it's just a flour tortilla with sugar on. And I've had the similar thing, with the cinnamon and sugar, and I think I like that a little bit better. My husband actually really liked them a lot. I was just like, they're fine, nothing special. And, I did them a little backwards by putting the butter on before I put them in the oven instead of after, but, c'est la vie, c'est la joie. So let's get in the rankings. The first are the ingredients on a scale of 1 to 5, and this is a 1, which means everything is relatively cheap and easy to find. Flour tortillas, colored sugar, butter, simple, easy peasy. Difficulty level on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm gonna give it like a 1.5 just because it sounds really easy to cut them into magic wand shapes, but I don't know, I struggled with it just a little bit. I mean, they're just basically a strip, so I think I was just overthinking the shape and how I expected them to look in my mind, and they didn't quite go that way, but it wasn't hard. But I did find it easier with that pizza cutter as opposed to the scissors. I thought that was a lot easier to do it. And then would I make these again on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 is never, and 5 is absolutely. I'm neutral at the middle at a 3. I didn't really care for them, but I think, if I've got extra flour tortillas sitting around, like if I buy a pack because I need them for I'm making burritos or something, and I've got a few extra, and I'm like, need something to use them up for, I could see doing this. And again, I might just do it with the cinnamon and the sugar instead of just the colored sugar, but I think it's something that's an option to do, whether I make them as a wand shape or not. I might just, cut them in to squares or something like that, would to be said. But I think as far as making them, for sure, not gonna go out of my way, but if I have them around, I do think they are a great idea if you are having a kids party or something and a princess themed, or maybe even a Harry Potter theme, and you wanted to have little wands. I think that's a really good way to do that, and that would be an option. All right, so anyway, that was the last recipe I had to do. And side note, I said I wanted to be done with this by the end of 2025, and I did make it by the end of 2025. I made it actually on New Year's Eve, the very last day of the year. But I just hadn't got around to making and editing this video until afterwards, by the time that you actually see this. But I will have a full review of this entire cookbook and summary coming up on my YouTube channel in the coming weeks soon. Thanks.